helps people sleepwalk through the morning. Today, our guest changed his life because of the morning. Today, Morning to the Lab with Keith and Friends. Good morning! Hey, happy guy! My team won yesterday! Yes! Oh, there's the hook. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, where comfortable routines expire and exceptional standards take over. Hey, I'm Keith Bilous, and I'm your host. I'm here searching. Hey, listen, if you're searching for soft morning conversation and soft morning wisdom and inspiration, posts that make you all warm and fuzzy inside, yeah, let me just save you some time. That's not what we do here. No, go over there. True story. Quick heads up. R-rated show. Yeah, put the headphones in the ears for the kids. We like to warn you all the time because the folks in the lab like to drop words that sometimes aren't appropriate for the children. Hey, listen, today is about something bigger than just another morning routine. You know, here we talk about mornings. We own the mornings here in the lab. We're here talking about something completely different. Identity transformation and how you can take those first few hours in the morning and change your life, change your day, how it is the foundation for everything else. Here, of course, today I got John Anderson, Marty Fit, Rich Ingram. I got Kristina Flynn, producer Jimmy on the buttons, keeping us all on track. And today's guest, we got someone who knows exactly what it takes to rebuild yourself from the ground up, Daniel Brenneman. Hey, we celebrated Daniel a week, 2 weeks ago in the Creator Spotlight. Daniel's here today joining us. And his story, Nation, it's not just about morning routines. No, it's about discovering how to show up as your complete self. Yes, using every skill, every experience, every perspective you've gained along the way. And Jory Jansen's back for Protein Break. We're taking us deeper into fat. Yeah, we're talking about fat, the F word, not fit, fat. But first, no months in full swing. Hey, we're getting into November here. And starting today, starting yesterday, what are you saying no to? I've been talking about this daily. I've had to say no to achieve exceptional things that start with yes. So what are you saying no to? And hey, listen, we also got the League of Business Athletes running 10 guys, 100 hours, 100 days, one absolute result, a complete life transformation. Now listen, I'm going to invite you to do yourself a favor. Subscribe to this channel, like the channel. Tell your friends about the channel. We got a guy named Jack John Dugan hanging out with our show since day one. Lost 40 pounds because he subscribes and he uses this channel to hold himself accountable. All right, morning check-in. Let's see what the crew's bringing to the table today, Jimmy. I got, let's see, we got Marty on stage. I'm eager to get what's going on with Marty from yesterday. We got Richie, we got Marty, we got Johnny, and we got, of course, producer Flynn going on here as well. And everybody's in black. It looks like we got the black team today. I'm wearing black with the painter cap. I'm sorry, Johnny, the beret today. Johnny's got the beret. Marty's got the red headset. Richie's got the black headset. We're all in black. We got the black memo today. How is the team today? I told y'all that I'm happy this morning. I woke up because my team won last night. And of course, I'm referring to the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, they won yesterday 12-1. So I'm excited that my team won yesterday. I woke up just excited the fact the world's going to be a better place. I was waiting for you, Marty, on that one. What's going on the table? What's going on, Ingram? Good to see you here today, brother.
Man, good morning. I miss you guys.
Yeah. Well, hey, so we know that Marty's going through some shuffling changes here with schedule and life. And we know Marty's day oneer here. Marty's always got a spot in the lab, but as Marty's transitioning, Rich has said, you know what? I'm going to pick up the baton and hang out with you guys a little more. So Rich is hanging out this today, tomorrow, and Friday. So between Richie and Marty, we got the tables taken care of and shuffling the deck around. So we are expanding the morning crew team. Marty, what's going on, brother? How was your second day with the old people at Gold's Gym in Virginia?
I mean, I wish I had, something exciting to say for you, but I really don't. It's really fucking boring. But
here's what it is.
I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm learning a lot. So
listen, here's Marty's answer.
Nah, really, yeah, it's really, it's really fucking bad.
Johnny, how are you today, brother? Good to see you here in the lab this morning. What's shaking down there in Cali, brother?
Oh, baby, back home. Yeah, getting to. I'll tell you, it's nice. It's so you almost forget how good it feels to sleep in your own bed. I mean, I travel a lot, and sometimes I don't really think about it when I'm on the road. But sometimes you have a bed that is it's just not what you're used to. And,
Yes.
I don't really think about it until I got home. I got home last night. I was like, oh man, this feels good. And then on the road too, our dogs, we try our dogs come with us everywhere. Two big fucking pit bulls. They kept jumping up. They know they can't get on the bed at home, but we let them get on the bed in hotels.
Of course you do.
In the middle of the night, they jump up and they sleep with me, and I get trapped between these two big dogs. Like I realized that my sleep quality wasn't as good as I thought when I was on the road. So I slept great last night.
I bet. You know what, Flinner? I feel like we got to do a show on traveling and eating and staying fit because Richie travels often. Johnny travels often. I've traveled, and I know those guys that listen to our show going, how the fuck do I travel? How do I eat properly? How do I get my rebounding in? How do I get my burpees in? Richie was sleeping in the tent in the middle of fucking somewhere in Texas last few days for a few days. We're going to ask Richie about that later on in the show. But we should do that.
Let me throw a simple tip on the table. Let me throw a simple tip on the table. I brought a big Tupperware, like the big old family size set of bitch filled with burgers, and I brought a bag of Ziploc sacks. And every time I got ready to leave the hotel, I put burger in a bag, filled up my pockets, and I was good. See how simple that shit is? Don't overcomplicate it. If you want it, it's that simple. That's it.
So I have a confession, Nation. I have a confession to my team. My lovely bride yesterday, we had a date yesterday, and she took me to an awesome hamburger joint, like just a good old greasy spoon hamburger joint. And Anderson, I was crushing my hamburger, and I was thinking about you crushing a hamburger with a Ziploc bag. Well, I had a nice bun on each side of it. I had some lettuce. And, listen, Richie, Marty, I was looking in the mirror after. I'm looking, hey, I ain't lean and jacked like Anderson, but my belly was sure feeling pretty fucking full. Yeah, I was thinking about you, man. I'm like, oh, yeah,
Well, here's the thing, too. You got to understand is it's not really when we damn the bun, it's only because the bun is processed foods. That makes sense? Even though you could have a really, really good bun, homemade bun, it's still made from flour, which is processed foods. The stomach doesn't understand that very well. Yeah. I went for a tattoo, and it's right on my cock, and it says no processed foods. Just because
Tina, what is going on?
I don't know how you took bun.
Give the little nutty dude some credit. He's talking about rooster.
Yeah, exactly, Johnny. Because I handle the rooster every day. Right? So I gotta be reminded. I gotta be reminded no processed food. So it just keeps me top of mind, John Anderson. Listen.
The elastic band.
Yeah, so I got John's head in the fridge when I see his head on the eggs. I got the elastic band on my wrist to keep me focused. I got the tattoo on my rooster so I can keep the no processed foods. Gentlemen, I have it all fucking sorted out. See you guys tomorrow. See ya.
If you were really committed, you'd put a tattoo of John on your rooster.
Oh, mercy.
I'm not seeing no commitment here.
Lauren's on the bike right now, so she can't hear the conversation right now, Flinner.
That's an interesting dynamic I hadn't thought of. Being the recipient of the tattoo.
We did talk a couple weeks ago with MC Borko about erectile dysfunction, and I've done my own research over time. Like, there's men that take needles and insert needles into the rooster to enjoy pleasure, and I just can't even imagine what that whole situation feels like. Like, like Marty, Johnny, Richie, you guys ever thought about that? Like, Johnny, do you know anybody?
That's called a no excuse lifestyle right there.
I'm gonna do the shit that others won't do.
That's it.
I don't even know if we can go there because I can't even imagine. Yeah. Anyways, we'll just.
You went there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you started it. You started it. Like you're having a regular convo.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Here's my segue. Here, and I'll take the glasses off for the segue. Here's what nobody talks to you about with transformation, with the rooster or no rooster. It doesn't start with some magical morning routine. No, there's no mastering of the domain, mastering of the wood. No, none of that at all. No, I'm telling you, it doesn't start with the perfect productivity app. Nope. It doesn't even start with discipline. No, it starts with the moment you realize you're living as half of who you could be. Imagine waking up, Marty, Richie, Johnny, Kristina, and going, holy fuck, man, I'm actually only accomplishing half my life right now. Like I'm actually kind of I'm not really accomplishing all that I can. And there's people waking up going, geez, like I'm going to hit the snooze button right now, or I don't know. And that's the real wake up call when you have those realizations. It's not just your alarm at 5 a.m. It's not just your cold shower. It's not just your meditation timer. Shit, no, it's the moment you look in the mirror and you realize you've been playing small. I know Richie's had those moments. Hey, Richie, you're going, fuck, man, I'm kind of playing small. I can go bigger. Losing pieces of yourself to the monotony of life and someone else's dream, and the morning routine just isn't the goal. It's the vehicle, the system that lets you show up as your complete self, right? But every morning you get to choose, build the complete version of you or keep living in fragments. Johnny, question for you, brother. When someone's ready to stop playing small, give somebody right now a reason to get up for the first move to hit their day right now.
I think when it comes down to it, and that when someone is ready to make a change, they basically just stop making excuses, because a person is not ready to change is going to make an excuse. The person is ready to make a change is going to take action. So what it comes down to is this. If you're really ready to go, it starts with the second you wake up, because you build momentum from the moment that alarm goes off. Just like we said, don't hit the snooze button, get your feet on the floor, go get some easy wins and build that momentum. It's literally, I hate to say it's that easy, but if you start from the moment you wake up, momentum builds and it becomes easier.
Marty, Richie, I met with somebody a couple of days ago, and they're like, Keith, like, what's the magic, man? Like, what's the magic to success? And I stopped, I stared in the camera. Richie, Marty, I said, it's showing up every day. I'm like, that's it? I go, yeah, actually, you just set the alarm and you get up and you got to go again. Oh, but isn't there like magic? No, just get up and start moving and go in the right direction.
That is the magic. That is right? The magic. And Richie,
Marty, I know, Marty, you get up every single day, and Rich, you do a lot of endurance things. You get yourself asked to bed at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, what's the magic, Richie Ingram? What's the magic?
That's exactly it, man. It's consistency. It's showing up. And I'm going to go back to value. Like, why am I doing this? I'm putting a value on it. Like, I want to see myself crossing the finish. I want to see myself fast. I want to see myself finishing before other people. I want to see myself being happy and successful. I'll put a value on it, and you have to be consistent and show up.
Yeah. And Marty, you're working with the old dudes now, man. What's the magic you're telling them? How are you convincing somebody to show up tomorrow and show up tomorrow and show up tomorrow and show up tomorrow?
Well, I'm not on the training side there, so I'm not really, convincing them that. But I would say the magic is, if you think about what's easier to do, it's easier to get up, or is it easier to go to sleep? The fact that you can continue to choose the harder thing, the more difficult thing, that's the magic right there, because most people can't do that. So the fact that you're separating yourself and you're becoming the 1% and you're choosing to do the harder thing, doing the stuff that's not easy, that's the magic right there.
There you go. And I got really just great little segue off Marty just said is, it's we always hear, it's the boring, it's not sexy doing this shit every day. And that's very true. However, once you actually do it to the point where you've separated yourself from other people, then it becomes real sexy, because now you're doing the shit that most people can't do, and that's sexy.
It's true.
It's sexy.
And for those of you that are waking up this morning, your team didn't win, it's okay. It's okay. Get up, get moving forward. Tomorrow's going to come. The next day is going to come. The next week's going to come. And just remember, we reminded you yesterday, just treat people with humanity and kindness. That's how we do it here in the lab. All right, Jimmy. We got a guest hanging out, waiting for us in the green room. His name's Daniel Brenneman. We're going to bring him in here in about a minute. We got the accountability check-in, and then we're going to dig into Daniel. He changed his life because of the morning. The guy totally reinvented himself. Listen, I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm going to invite you right now to stop watching this video if you think that accountability is about checking the boxes. Yep. Because what I'm about to share completely changed how I viewed morning performance. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Let's talk about that lie that you're telling yourself. I know you are. I know you're telling it. I'm going to start fresh tomorrow. I'll wait till Monday. I'll do it next week. The one where you pretend small choices don't compound. The one where you think playing it safe is playing it hard. Listen, here's the reality check you didn't ask for. Every morning is a restart. It isn't just about what you do. It's about who you're becoming. because it happens every day. Tomorrow, the next day, you're becoming something. So you got a choice. You can become that over there. You can become that over there. You can look backwards or you can look forwards. Look at your habits right now. Your habits are predicting your future, not your plans. Don't look at your goals. Don't look at your vision board. Don't look at your habits. Your actual daily choices predict what your future is going to look like. And are they building a complete version of you, or are they maintaining that safe, fragmented version that's just keeping you stuck in the same spot? Because listen, for the month of November, no month isn't about saying no to things. It's about saying yes. You heard me. Saying yes to your complete potential, to the vision that you showed up for today. The one that's still collecting excuses, or the one you're going to move forward with and engineer real transformation? Listen, the choice is up to you. The next 24 hours are coming anyways. The only question is, are you going to get up and do it again? Will you see them to build your complete self, or are you going to keep just living as a fraction, or who you could be? I know we got Good Time. We got Jack Dugan. We got Blaze. We got folks who are getting up every single day and using this show as their accountability partner to build a better version of themselves. All right, listen, if this message is hitting you different, good. I tell you every single day, this content should hit you different. I invite you to subscribe to it, like it, share it with your friends. Tell your friends you've discovered this morning show for men that helps men reach the biggest, most audacious goals of their life. And tag someone who needs to stop playing small, because sometimes, I'm telling you, sometimes reality checks is all it takes to change people's lives. All right, listen, let's rock and roll here. We're going to bring in our guest, and I'm going to start the guest with I got a little bit of a hook for you guys, and it starts like this. I felt overlooked, underutilized, and trapped in a box I didn't build. Yep. Yes. That's how today's guest spent years of his life until he discovered something that changed everything. How to unlock your complete identity and build a brand no one can copy. Today, he's sharing his blueprint. Today, welcome to Center Stage. We are bringing in our guest, Daniel Brenneman, who went from feeling confined by simple roles to building what he calls a remarkably unique life and business. Today, we are welcoming Daniel Brenneman to the lab. Mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. What's shaking, Daniel?
What's up, Daniel?
Y'all?
Hey, good to have you, man. What's
up, Daniel?
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. We celebrated you in the Creative Spotlight last week. Bringing you here in the show today, bringing the energy and so forth. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Daniel, because we always like to start with this first question. The first question to all of our guests. Where are you located, and how do you start your daily morning routine, Daniel Brenneman?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. And wow, that focus is way off. My apologies.
Yeah, we were wondering you're looking out of focus. I'm joking. There you go.
There, that autofocus is getting me. All right. So, Charlotte, North Carolina. And my morning, I start getting up, drinking my coffee, reading my Bible, and doing LinkedIn brain games. I know it sounds kind of funny, kind of weird, but gets my brain going, gets the juices flowing, and do that, and then spending time with my kids, getting them off to school, all of that, because that is top thing for me. And then right after that, it's LinkedIn posts, getting my social media presence going, and talking about the thing that I'm trying to bring into the world.
I love it. Good morning, Blaze. Good morning, Mike McQuillan, Fit Presenter. And good morning, Shinku Gould. It's good to see you guys here this morning. So Daniel, is that routine every single day? And then did it just happen by accident, or have you had to hone that routine in place for you?
Oh no, it's honed. It's for sure honed. And it's every weekday. Weekends are a little crazier for me because the kids have sports and all kinds of nonsense that's going on at all times. But definitely something that's honed, something that I found works for me, gets my morning going better. And it's definitely something that is a work in progress always, because the seasons change and what I need season to season changes. So it definitely, sometimes it's working out in the mornings. Sometimes it's doing the relaxing, reading the Bible. Sometimes it's spending time with my wife because we don't have time with others. So there are different seasons and different things that are required, but the morning routine to me is of paramount importance.
Awesome. Good morning, Bill Crosby. You're hanging out with the used car dealers here this morning. Richie will sell you a Toyota. Johnny's got the Honda. And Marty's got the Jeep, and of course, I got the old jalopy in the corner there. So, Bill, if you need some cars, you're in the right show here.
Hold on, did you just tell me I got a Honda or I'm a Honda? Come on, man.
I said you're selling
That's
off.
a good car, man. That's solid.
Jesus Christ, that was. I'm not saying that it's a good car. I'm just saying that's not my type of car. Don't.
So bougie, man.
Who knows? What? Maybe I wanted a Volkswagen. Does that make me?
Still a little bougie,
you know better than that, but I'm just saying.
Still a little bougie.
I'm just saying. So, Daniel, you went from graphic designer to strategist to email marketer, feeling confined in each role. So, take us to that moment when you realized you were living as just a fraction of who you could be. Like, what triggered that wake-up call? I can tell you right now, Daniel, you talked to Rich, you had a wake-up call. You talked to Johnny, wake-up call. Marty, wake-up call. We all had our wake-up calls. What was your wake-up call, Daniel Brenneman?
Man, it was when other people started calling out things in me that I myself didn't even see. So there were several people I got into business with, fractional roles, different things like that, towards the end of my tenure on the staff at the church I was working at. And they looked at me and said, hey, what you do is really unique. Like, you are able to take these complex concepts and break them down into simple parts and help people understand things better and do this. And your brand stuff that you create tells a great story. It really just speaks to people at a different level. And the way you relate to people and lead people is incredible. And so I was looking at all these things like, oh, crap. I am more than this role. I'm more than that role. And that's why I've always bounced around. I've always been more of a utility player. The old adage is, hey, Daniel can figure that out. And so I had never moved up because I always had to fill roles that were needed to be filled. And I could always figure things out. But it was always one singular discipline. And so when I looked at things holistically and said, oh, I've developed this and this and this and this and this and this, I have something much more to bring into the world than just that single discipline.
Oh, I love that. Richie.
No, yeah, I completely agree with that. I think a lot of times we just have to listen, right? And I think it's interesting that, you're in whether you want to call it spiritual or, an awakening. That's kind of similar to how I got into what I am. I just started listening to the universe, what people were telling me, certain things that I was seeing. And then, you know what? That really turned into the passion of what I found to be a purpose in my life. So,
this is interesting because Johnny, when I met you, you said the same thing to me. You said the exact same thing to me, Johnny, when I met you. And then Marty, as I've gotten to know you, Marty, you've expressed, how you follow the Bible, and obviously that's a part of Big Daniel's foundation. But let's start with Johnny. Daniel's talking about the energy, about moving towards the energy. And John, when you and I met, you're like, Keith, there's energy here, man. Like, lean into that, because the guy's going, is that natural? Is that real? John Anderson.
I think it's like there's almost a certain skill that you have to develop in terms of being tuned in. And it's almost like, we all got these little antennas, but most of them are laid down tight like this. And when we got to learn to get them up, and forgive me, I'm tracking a little slow this morning. I didn't realize I was tracking slow till I got on this show, and I'm like 5 seconds behind everything that's coming in. Even though there's no delay in my Wi-Fi, I'm still tracking slow. So forgive this should have been a little better, but you see what I mean? It's like you almost have to develop as you grow. If you're open, you got to be open, and you develop this ability to hear. You develop this ability to feel. And if you're lucky, like I was, I just got just hit like a fucking freight train when I wasn't able to hear. And it was the reason I believe that I could feel it is because I was so challenged when something that my purpose came along. It was just a stark difference from everything else in my life. And I was like, whoa, what is this? I mean, at the age, I didn't even know I had antennas, let alone get them up. But it was just boom. All of a sudden, it just hit me like a freight train. And, thank God it did, because Jesus Christ, I always make the joke, man. I mean, God knows where I would be or what I'd be doing if I didn't get hit like that.
Yeah. Marty, we, Daniel talks about his he starts his day with the Bible, and I know it's a big part of your life as well. And we've had guests come through the lab here recently where it's a foundation of how they start their day. Marty, when you hear Daniel using that as a foundation for his day, lean into that a little bit, Marty. And what unlocks for you when you hear that from Daniel? It's that foundation, isn't it, Marty?
Yeah, man, I could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
But so Daniel does it in the morning, before he starts his day. So that's that positivity right there. You start your day with a good word. So you're just gonna go into your day with a different mindset. And then I said it on here before, like every life situation I've encountered, like I'm talking about all of them, is in the Bible in some way, shape, or form. So that right there is just a good guide to I guess tell you how to move or how to respond to things instead of react to things. We talked about that yesterday, but that's a good way to go throughout life. So I love that.
Yeah. You know I love what's coming to life with this show, and I guess I'm Marty, I'm looking at you because you and I've been around for so long with this thing, is that we are creating safe spaces, welcome conversations, anybody welcome here. And some tuning in and be going, oh, you guys are leaning into the Bible. Oh, you guys are leaning into all this crazy religious stuff. Actually, no, not at all. It's a foundation. There's words, positivity. For some folks, they need that to help them move forward. To some folks, they read other things. And I think that's what's so awesome about what we're creating here, is that we invite this in here. Like, there's no judgment.
And
right?
Guess what, Keith? We would let Hindus come on here. We would let Buddhists come on here.
Yes.
Everybody, we would just have a conversation.
100%. And that's what I love about that. And I keep learning too, which is because Richie, yesterday, Johnny starts quoting the Bible, and me and Marty and Keith starting to laugh, but not at Johnny, because the guy's a theology major. He's a philosophy major, and you're looking at him going,
minor. Don't oversell me. I got a minor in philosophy.
Keith's a businessman. He's going to oversell it.
But the fact that you all judge book by its cover, and you're like, Johnny's quoting that. But my point is, it's just, we all need foundational references, and Daniel starts his day, Marty starts his day, using the Bible in that sort. So listen, we're going to do this. Go ahead, Johnny.
Sneak in real quick before we get out of this? I just want to, I'm tracking slow today, and as I was sitting there realizing that what I didn't add to what I was saying was probably the most important part, is that when someone does actually, whether it get, like myself, get hit like a freight train with a purpose, or they just slowly catch on with the antennas, the odds are the world or even their family is going to tell them they're fucking nuts. What are you thinking? What are you doing? You should be doing like everybody else. So if you catch your purpose, I hate to say luck, but if you get tuned in and you find it, that's great. But the hardest part is to actually honor that with everybody around you telling you that you can't. Everybody around you telling you you're fucking stupid. So when you do find it, that's the most important thing. All you got to do is stick to it long enough that people believe that you're going to stick with it and you're out of the woods.
It's so true. It's so true. Hey, it's bottom of the hour here. We get to see Marty Fitch coming up here in about a minute and a half. But before we do that, Daniel, question for you, brother.
Yeah.
Video content. It's central to how you help others unlock their complete identity. Tell us your framework. How do you help someone, use Richie. How do you help someone identify the parts of themselves they've been hiding? What's that process for turning those hidden elements into brand power? Daniel Brenneman.
So a couple of things there that I think that it's a two-part question, right? The video is the execution side of it. The elements are the brand side. So if I'm looking at Richie and saying, hey, here, we're going to figure out exactly what that unique brand identity is, I will go back into the story. I think our brand purpose, our personal brands, what makes us unique and remarkable is to be excavated, not fabricated. So it's already there. We have breadcrumbs back on our path, on our trail, our journey that inform that, because most people will look at life as a singular path, a linear journey, and say, I moved past this season, I moved past that season. My belief is that they're more concentric circles, that those circles overlap in all kinds of different areas. And there's one specific pinpoint where they all overlap. And if you can identify that, then you have the unique way you are able to talk that no one else can talk that way. You look at, I would listen to people's stories, and I'll go back to their childhood and say, hey, what's the thing that you did inordinately that everyone else compliments you on that you look and say, that's normal. That's just kind of how I do things. And then I'll say, hey, did you always do it that way? Look back at your childhood. Is that how you naturally did things? Or are you moving away from something that happened in childhood? Those are generally the two different areas. And so you look at that thread that's pulled all the way through, and then you start to combine those different experiences with your skill sets. And now you have a unique position on what you do. You're not just competing at the level of your skill set. you're competing in a one-of-one scenario because no one else has the same skill sets, perspectives, and unique experiences that you do. And so when I get on video, what I do is I have frameworks that I've created that I will set out my audience or what the mission is, what my values are. And I'll look and say, what does that person need to hear? And does it align with what I need to bring into this world? Does it align with the brand promise that I make? And does it align with the mission that I'm trying to bring into this world?
Awesome. Hey, you're hanging out with Daniel Brenneman, Keith Bilous, John Anderson, C. Marty Finn, and of course, our buddy Rich Ingram here as well, and producer Flynn and producer Jimmy on the buttons. You guys hear the sound effects. Marty's up. Marty's talking to you boys about touching toes. Marty, there's a lot of guys that can't touch their toes, man. They can't.
That's the wrong song, but you're right. You're absolutely right. I agree with you, Keith.
There you go. Sorry, I hit
there we go. Come on, Keith.
My brother, it doesn't make a difference what they do.
I'm a day one, and you getting my song wrong. Come on, man. All right, we got a great fitness tip today. A little bit different, like Keith said. So, the toe touch test exposes a mobility problem that affects 67% of people, probably more than that. So most trainers get the solution wrong. So in the next 90 seconds, I'm sharing 3 science-backed fixes that work immediately. So the question is, can you touch your toes? And if you can't, this is why it matters. This is a good sign of overall mobility, especially in your hamstrings, hips, lower back. Think about how much we sit down. We're at the desk. We're working at home, and we're sitting in the car. We're sitting at our kids' sports games. We're always sitting. So limited range here, this is going to lead to tightness, poor posture, and possible injuries. So if you want to improve this, we got 3 stretches. You got the standing forward fold. So start with your knees slightly bent. Fold at your hips. All right, let your upper body hang. Breathe and relax deeper into this stretch. This is going to lengthen your hamstrings and release the lower back. Lower back pain is a sign that you got super tight hamstrings. So don't go straight to a lower back stretch. Stretch those hamstrings out first. Seated hamstring stretch. Sit on the floor, leg extended. Reach towards your toes. I'm sure we all seen that. Downward dog, a yoga classic that stretches the hamstrings, your calves, and your shoulders. That's actually a very slept on stretch. All right, push your hips up, your back, while you're pressing your heels toward the floor for a deep stretch. So keep working on these. Before you know it, touching your toes will feel different. It'll be easier, and it'll be a new warm-up move. So don't sleep on it. That's the fitness tip for today.
Marty Fit, 9:30 Eastern time, giving you guys advice to get you rolling through the day. Marty, good one today, man. It's yoga day too, rest and recovery day. So I'm into downward dog, brother.
Yes,
downward dog. I'm into I got lizard, I got frog. I freaking love all those lower body stretches, man. That's super, super happy. And it's we talk about it all the time, right? This Daniel, can you touch your toes? True story. Can you touch
Yeah, I can actually put my palms flat on the ground.
Richie, can you touch your toes as well?
Impressive.
Absolutely.
You can, eh? And Johnny, can you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, here's kind of a funny little. Usually, the guy that can touch his toes, can also see his dick.
Jesus Christ.
Does that make sense?
That like,
the motherfucker that's got that big old fucking belly? He's got to be fucking, reeling up belly and possibly even tits to see his dick. He can't touch his toes. So keep in mind. If you can't see your dick, you probably can't touch your toes. So start working on touching your toes, and that'll help you understand that you need to work on seeing your dick at the same time.
Producer Jimmy, there's the segment. Men, if you
that was my lifestyle tip early right there. You know.
Yeah, that's the lifestyle tip for sure today. You got to keep going on that. You got to keep that one going. I was not expecting that.
It's a correlation. It's just kind of like, if it's raining and you walk outside with an umbrella, what happens? You're going to get wet. The two fit together. Well, if you can't see your dick, you can't touch your toes. It's almost a guarantee.
Where are we going here?
Look. I will say this. So after the Moab race, I started getting some hip flexor pain, right? Because I haven't done that much like power hiking, and so we spent a lot of time at work. So what did I do? I got rid of my fucking desk. I got rid of my desk, and I had this badass standing. This thing goes up
desk,
to like up here. And I'm standing right now, and this is amazing. Like my hip flexors feel so much better because I'm not fucking sitting down. So I mean, that is another thing. Like, hey, look, if you notice, like, you can't see your dick, make some kind of fucking change.
Yes.
Something definitely needs to change.
Well, yeah. But like, I spend thousands of dollars on my mattress because I spend most of my fucking life there. I spend a lot of time at work. I change my desk. If you can't see your dick, man, you got a problem.
It's, Daniel, could you imagine when you joined the show today? This is going to be this is the deep dive segment. That if you can't see your dick, if you can't touch your toes and see your dick, then you got a problem, man. It's just there's a problem here.
Listen, I wasn't ready for that, but I'm here for the discourse. I co-sign on it. Hey, Rich, listen, I do some woodworking and I built my own standing desk. I co-sign on the standing desk.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Well, and then there's one extension to my rule of thumb here, right? So this is what puts the urgency on your situation, and you can try this on your own and decide for yourself. But take and massage that thing up to par. Get that thing nice and stiff. And if you still can't see the tip, you got a problem.
Oh, I forgot what we were.
All right, well, I guess my time here is done.
I forgot we were talking about dicks. I didn't know what
oh my God. So Daniel, let's go deeper. Oh,
okay.
Daniel, building a remarkable personal brand isn't just about building better content or prettier designs. Let's start with something tactical, Daniel. Now, in your content and in your discussions, you've mentioned that most people, in your experience, operate at 50% of their potential, maybe even low. Daniel, what are the first signs someone's hiding their dick? Oh, I'm sorry. What are the first signs someone's hiding parts of their identity? Daniel Brenneman. And what signals tell you that they're playing small?
Listen, I am a metaphor guy, so let's carry the metaphor. They're hiding it with their proverbial stomach. It's everything they add on. Everything they add on.
We got to invite Brenneman back to the show because he's playing along perfect with us, man.
Yeah, he's running the pack here, man. Shit, I don't even think I could be leading it like this. God damn.
He's speaking our language.
I'm a storyteller.
I love it, Brenneman. Keep going, brother.
No, but listen. Seriously though, it's what everyone adds on. You hear all this advice that you got to build your personal brand for those you speak to. You got to build your personal brand for the audience. You got to find them, all this stuff. But the reality is you have to figure out who you are, because otherwise it's not sustainable. You will burn out. You will not be able to see. You will lose yourself. One of the illustrations I use is stacking blocks. If I am going to stack a personal brand up, I don't just start moving upwards, because what happens is I will make compromises inevitably without a good foundation. If I make a compromise to the left a little bit, I have to make another compromise to the right. And so what I preach is, before you get to content, before you get to platform, you have to have foundation. And when you understand that, you can build a tower as tall as you want, because you have the right language to ensure that you are building in alignment. And so, again, going back to the gut analogy, when people start adding things on, they add a gut and that gets them off balance.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll fall. Eventually they'll crumble under the weight of the things they put on that are not naturally them.
Johnny, I know this is resonating for you, brother.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to it, if I love to strip things down and make it simple. It's like, if you can get down to who you are and you can be unapologetically yourself, then a whole lot of this fucking red tape gets out of your way, and it's just, I guess I think, it's almost like, being unapologetically yourself. It gives you a very, very clear roadmap, or a very clear, I guess you'd say blueprint on what you're building. If you don't know what you're building, what are you going to do? How are you going to stack those blocks if you don't really know what you're building?
Yeah. So Daniel, here's a point question for you, a tactical question. And I want so address Marty, Richie, and our audience right now who's struggling with content creation. Now, I'm not suggesting Richie or Marty are, but let's use them as our audience.
Sure.
Walk us through your content creation system. How do you structure your day? You're a busy dude, man. You got kids, you got family, you got business, you're fucking stacking habits, you got a busy calendar. How do you structure your day to consistently produce video content? What needs to happen every morning to keep your brand building momentum? Because we talk about consistency and accountability. But Daniel, how do you do it, man? How do you do it? What's your magic?
So I am a little contrary in this. A lot of people will teach pillars. I teach playgrounds. So pillars are rigid, playgrounds are free. They allow for creativity. And so what I'll do is I have a playground in which I play. I look at my values, my experiences, my frustrations, and really the truest thing you can say is you attract who you are. And when I boil down why, it's those three things: your values, your frustrations, your experiences. And so I build a playground with those three things and say, all right, within this playground, what do I want to talk about today? What is the message that I want to get across? What's the message that my audience needs to hear? And what is the message that the people that I'm attracting are going to resonate with? And so there are a lot of people that will plan out content, and I do fresh content every morning, my post on the spot, because I will bank content ideas, just stories and things that happen throughout the day, because I believe that most of our learnings come from our lives. I'll pull something and look in that playground and say, how do I want to build the slide today? How do I want to navigate the monkey bars today? And I will just sit there and create from my heart, create from who I am. And not to say I won't ever create content from a scheduled content or on a content calendar, but having that playground allows me to be more free, more creative, and doesn't stifle what I have to do. And what I'll try to do is I'll try and think loosely and say, I want to tell a couple stories. I want to teach a couple things. And then Friday, I will talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. I call it Fun Fridays, and I'm going to let you know me, because it's a personal brand for a reason. If you don't get to know me, you get to know my skill set. And I'm not about to do that. So I will structure in that format. 80% my skill sets, what I'm doing business, 20% the personal. But it's very much playground versus pillar, because I am a creative at heart, and that really works for me in allowing me to do just kind of what's hit me in the moment.
There certainly is a not a right answer. Some are all about, I need to create my content on the fly. Some are all about, I'm going to create a month's worth of content and put it into the calendar. But you're a creative spirit, right? I know I worked with Marty. Marty's a creative spirit. Johnny, I know you create a bunch of content in advance. I don't know if it's a right or a wrong. It just, I guess, what was working best for us, right, Daniel?
Yes, absolutely. And I would wager a guess that there is probably playgrounds already built in y'all's systems that you think in terms of playground as well as pillars, if you are subscribing to pillars, because you're consistent, because you're effective. I think the important part is putting language to that. That's where a lot of people go wrong, because if you don't have language, then that's where imposter syndrome creeps in. That's where you worry that the rug's gonna be pulled out from under you, because I can't explain the success I'm having because it's something that is innate to what I do. So you put language to it, you can begin to now understand why, and you can understand exactly how, when, and what happens when that inspiration occurs.
So Daniel, is language in your terms, and I know we got to keep rocking and rolling here, we're going to wrap it up here, but Daniel, is language in your terms the same idea as boundaries? We talk with AJ Zeglin, our mind fuel expert, about creating boundaries, and often we think about boundaries as a negative. But I think what you're saying is language creates structure around the playground. Am I correct?
Yes, it's structure. I think there is a level of boundaries to it, yes. But the word boundaries, I think, implies restriction. And so someone once told me language is a window into culture. And I never want the culture to be restrictive. So I think structure is a better word than boundaries. But yes, it absolutely gives a framework on which you can build, rather than kind of wandering aimlessly in the abyss.
I like that. Say that again. Language is a view into culture?
Language is a window into culture. You listen to how someone talks, you listen to the words they use, you will understand who they are.
Fuck, I love that. And Marty, I'm looking at you, brother, because since I've known you, you've talked about your journey, going through basketball, being exposed to many different cultures and so forth. And when Daniel says that, I think about you, Marty, because of the power of language, wherever you were, right? You talked about the different cultures and races and economic lifestyles you've been a part of. But the common theme, Marty, is language, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely language. I mean, at the end of the day, we all speak the same, not literally English, but we all speak the same language. We're more similar than we think, despite everything. And so when Daniel mentioned, like, you're going to find your audience, basically you go up there, right? You give your style of that, and you're going to attract the people that fit your style. So you're going to, basically attract what you are, just like Daniel said. So language is everything.
I love that. Daniel Brenneman, I'd like to have you come back and talk about playgrounds. I think there's some. I think we can probably dig deeper into that. I haven't heard that analogy before, and I know we talk often about pillars, but let's have you back in the future and talk about playgrounds. But before we do that, how can business athlete, how can LinkedIn Nation, how can the world find Daniel Brenneman before we say goodbye and bring in Jory Jansen for the protein break and John Anderson's lifestyle tip? Daniel, where can we find you?
LinkedIn is where I am most active. It's where you'll find me. And then DanielBrenneman.com. You can find more information there. But those are the two places. Come find me on LinkedIn. We'll chop it up, hang out, build a community there.
Awesome. Final words from you, Brenneman. Anything you want to say before you say goodbye?
Hey, go be remarkable, fam. Love y'all.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Daniel Brenneman joining us here.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it, man.
That's awesome. Daniel Brenneman joining us here. Mornings and a lot with Keith and Frank. Of course, we got this guy. Yeah. Well, we know he's talking big guts and Johnny, you got your lifestyle too.
Let's go, baby. All right, check it out. If you find yourself having negative thoughts for no reason, don't sweat it. You're not alone. Human beings, the way we were designed, we all have it, and it's our brains. Our brains were designed, what you understand is our brains were designed when the number one concern for human being was to survive. So our brain was programmed to look around and find problems. And that's what kept us alive, because in those days, problems were trying to eat us for lunch in many cases. Well, in today's world, our problems are not going to eat us for lunch, but the brain is still really good at finding problems. In many cases, those problems never even come to reality. So here's the deal. If you find yourself having these negative thoughts that keep coming back to get you, here's a tip that can really, really help. You're going to have a stack. At some point in the day, you should be eating multiple times throughout the day. When you sit down to eat, all you're going to do is you're going to think about something that makes you happy, something that makes you grateful, because, and it's easy to do. It can be a family member. Hell, it could be the meal you're eating. Because here's how it works. The human brain cannot feel stress and anxiety and gratitude and happiness at the same time. So you have control of getting rid of those bad thoughts. You just have to understand that they're happening and understand how to get rid of them. And little by little, you will train your brain to see the good rather than the bad. So remember, if this is you, you're not alone. And now you have a tip on how to actually control those negative thoughts, get them out of the way so you can have a better day. Rock and roll.
You know what to do to have that better day. You know what to do. Every day, 8:45 Eastern time, the lifestyle tip with Johnny. Hey, you guys know what's next here. As I look for my buttons that I haven't moved around yet. And it's going to sound just like this. Yep, we got it. There she is. Coming in here. Is she not?
What kind of goat is that sound, Johnny?
That's a female goat. Or castrated, goat, however you want to describe it. That's a female goat for Jory. That's perfect for Jory. Female goat.
Good morning, Jory Jansen. Obviously joining us here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, talking protein break. One of the best segments on our show. We're always learning nuggets, and I'm excited to talk today, especially Marty, Richie, how Johnny set up. And Jory, I hope you didn't hear the last segment because we were talking about some, I don't know. Earlier on in the segment, we were talking about touching toes, and I don't know, we were talking about roosters and so forth. And part of the rooster conversation was about men who are fat. And today we're talking about fat in the protein break. And we're talking about fat as fuel. And Jack Dugan says, good morning, Jory. And we started the conversation, Jory, on ketosis on Friday. And then I said, hey, let's keep the conversation going on fat. And I know this is almost like a 1980s conversation because there's, but there's a lot of guys and there's a lot of humans that still get confused about fat. And what I love about today is we got an endurance athlete here, Rich Ingram, who runs for fucking miles and miles and miles. You got Johnny Anderson here, who's a bodybuilder, composition expert. You got Marty, who's an athlete. You got myself, who's a business athlete. And we all have different variations and versions of fat. Let's talk about fat today, Jory Jansen.
Yeah, let's talk about fat.
Where do you want to start?
So fat is needed. Fat is a nutrient. It's fuel. It's protection. It helps with metabolism and hormones. We need it. Our brain needs fat. Our organs need protection from fat. But then there's the excess fat.
Yes.
So anything in excess is not great for us. Anything, right? So we got to look at that too. And when you look at a keto diet, which if we look at the first studies like that were promoting its benefits, like I think it was like 1983 or something like that, early 80s, it wasn't looking at the complete picture.
Yes.
And so we want to really make sure that we're looking at the complete picture. And that's the great thing about science, is that it's always evolving. It's not about failure. It's about let's evolve, right? And so I really think that we can look at fat is a nutrient. It helps us feel fuller longer. It helps texture and taste of food. Absolutely. But if we're going to look at a ketogenic diet, then we need to also look at the individual, and the individual that might have, some genetics that lead to high cholesterol, or an imbalance of, there's LDL and HDL. LDL, we in the nutrition geek world, we call it lousy cholesterol, so the bad cholesterol, and HDL is the happy cholesterol, the good cholesterol.
Oh.
So, we have our little geek out sort of acronyms for things, but it helps us remember, like, fat is still necessary, but we want to keep the lousy down and keep the happy up. And how do we do that? And through good nutrition, through exercise, through sleep, all that kind of stuff. Genetics we can't necessarily change, but we can impact. And so we can switch things on and off based on how we're living our lives. And so looking at fat in terms of what's heart healthy, our happy fats would be things that are poly and unsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats.
Yes.
Fancy word for heart healthy fats, things like nuts, seeds, avocados, olive oil, all of those sort of things are really heart healthy. They're still, gram for gram, the same amount of calories as a saturated fat. Saturated fat in high amounts is in animal fats. And those tend to not be heart healthy, right? So we don't have to eliminate, but we do need to reduce.
Anthony. Hey, Johnny, do you and Richie, you guys train? Jory's talking about fats. And Johnny, you've talked about training an elite athlete who swims, and Richie who runs for fucking days on end. Jory, can both these guys just fuel on fat altogether?
They can. Depends on the outcome you want.
Lean into that for Richie. And then Johnny has a good example too, where he's been training a swimmer who I think, Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, you've no carbohydrates, right? You just fueled them completely on fat. Am I correct, Johnny?
And this weekend, he actually broke a record he swam. He was towing his wife in a canoe. He swam 6 kilometers in 31.8 degree water.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, and his super fuel is coconut oil.
Oh, no kidding. So let's go there,
because that's part of what when I teach is everybody has their superfoods. Like, perfect example, I'll digest an avocado fast, and it's boom. Some people, it's rare, but I've had clients that we'll test what's going to digest the best for them. Sometimes too much coconut oil gives people the shits.
Yes,
I've found, like, for me, avocado is going to be that's my super fat. Avocado oil, not so much. But I've had clients where it was the other way around, and we test this by, obviously it's kind of a long-term scenario, but we see when they're digesting efficiently, when they get hungry, we rotate fats through. If they're getting hungrier faster with a regular basis, that means their body's having an easier time, converting that into fuel. And so there's a lot to it, and it has to be someone that's really committed to find out what their superfoods are. But yeah, this dude in Iceland, granted, he had all sorts of issues that were, processed food and carbohydrate based. The doctors hadn't been able to figure it out. He wasn't sleeping, and I got him straightened out. He started sleeping like a baby, and his endurance shot. He's also an MMA fighter. He started swimming for the conditioning part of it. And so as we got him straightened out, he really, really started to realize he was just a savage with swimming in this cold water. And now he's like all over the news. He's getting ready to be the first person to ever swim the English Channel.
Huh? No kidding. Wow. Jory, when you hear that, what comes to mind with you when you hear this elite athlete just powering with coconut oil and so forth?
Yeah, I don't think that we can ever limit to one thing for sure.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot going on. And our body works so hard to be so efficient for us. So when we're going really low in any specific nutrient, and if we think of carbohydrate as the quickest, easiest fuel to use, when we're low in that, the body is able to convert protein into a carbohydrate. It's able to utilize fat in the same way. So we really want to look at like what is the body doing to be able to support us in what we're doing, in the outcome that we're having. The body, like I always tell people, no matter what you're doing, the body has always done what it needs to do to support you. And that's what it's doing. It's figuring out, how do I efficiently use what's being given to me? Right? It's like me giving my daughter so much money, and she has to be efficient with how she's going to use it. And so she can adapt to, this is what I'm getting on a regular basis. So now I know how to use my funds so I don't run out too soon. And that's what the body is going to do. And it's just the science of how we're made up. So and the types of fats, though, you are right, like the types of fats do matter. So MCT, so the medium chain triglycerides, those types of fats do break down and utilized more efficiently, quickly, but they still take longer, right? It's still a longer source to get to than a carbohydrate source. And you can train your gut, you can train your body to be efficient with how you're going to support it.
Richie, is this
real quick on that level? One thing I want to add is, as we were kind of doing this with him, it has to be a consistent feeding of fat, because you have a gap where you're missed. Oh, that gap of energy is coming. It's just not there in a few minutes. It might be there hours and hours later. All of a sudden, well, you don't just reload real quick with fat. So you have to be diligent about keeping on your schedule, because that shit is loading hours, and depending on what fat you're using, hours and hours behind your consumption.
Is that why you say, Johnny, that I know one of the things you teach your clients is always have almonds in your pockets. Yeah, because in your point of view, those almonds are chasing.
If fat is a I mean, it's a multiple reasons. It's essential fats, highly convenient. I mean, you can give someone all sorts of great ideas that are not applicable in everyday busy life, and it doesn't make a difference how good it is if they can't execute it. So almonds in the pocket. You can get these things at gas stations. They got plenty of flavors to keep people interested. You can just tear the top off and put it in your mouth, like when you're driving. You could be anywhere. So it's just so simple. And the fact that it's a long burning fuel and it's an essential fat, it's just kind of say, okay, with the limitations we have, that just seems to work out so well.
Richie, when you hear Jory and Johnny talking about fats, and I know, again, you fuel for endurance. Does this make you nervous going, I want to try fueling myself with fats, or you're all about carbohydrates, and that's what works for me? Or have you tried this method, Richie, or talk to us a little bit about this?
No, so I think it's a balance. There's some elite athletes out there that have low carb diets. And when I say elite athletes, I'm talking just endurance. We're talking ultra marathon.
Yes.
And so what happens is, the way that you can train for this is your body starts to optimize how it burns at 90 to 120 minutes in an aerobic state. And so what that means is you start burning fat more efficiently in this aerobic state. So fat is very important. Now, what you need to continue fueling once you get 12 hours, 14 hours into the fight, that's where carbs I look at are like gasoline. They're quick burning. Whereas fat is like the bank. That's the stuff that's solid. You're pulling out as you need it. And then I use protein. Protein for me, I look at as recovery. And I know Jory's looking at it as can look at it as a different type, but for me in multi-day events, that's how I look at it. So for me, I do a balance, and I don't try and do a low carb or high fat or anything like that. I balance it out because I have to look at how my body's going to be fueled over, a multi-day event or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think what Rich just said that we're all kind of preaching here is that every individual is going to have their formula, and it's going to be really unique to how their body works. And even that formula may even evolve over time. So it's not just a one simple answer, one-stop shop.
Well, here's where we want to get the guys to, especially I want to continue this conversation towards Friday, Jory. There's guys waking up, looking in the mirror, maybe not feeling good about themselves, maybe looking at a big belly and so forth. And they're going to the doctor and they're hearing about the LDLs, the HDLs, and they're talking about cholesterol medication and so forth. Maybe, Jory, where we need to go on Friday is talking about how men can actively work towards avoiding the medications, actively work towards managing the fat that they could be eating instead of just going to the doctor. Because I don't know, it just seems, and Jory, correct me if I'm wrong, it just seems like Western medicine's quick to prescribe the cholesterol medicine for fats when there might be other ways. Jory Jansen, am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. And that topic is completely different than the fueling for sport.
Yes. Yes.
Completely different, right?
Yes.
So how Rich is fueling for like ultra endurance, bang on. You have to. If you're going for that hill sprint, you need those quick carbs to get you going. Possibly a combination of carbs and caffeine kick, right? At the right time.
Yes.
So that type of fueling is completely different than when you're looking at a phase or periodization of body composition or changing blood lipid levels. Completely different conversation. Absolutely. So
but let's keep having it though, because our audience are those guys that want to be like Rich or want to be like Johnny or want to be like Marty and don't want to be like me. And they're going, I want to be an athlete or I want to lose some weight. And I'm here and I'm still confused by the fact. Because it is confusing. I think it's still, I don't know. It still seems confusing in 2024, Jory, every now and then. When, you hear science on Monday, you hear science on Friday, you talk to a friend on Saturday, and you're like, okay, what the fuck do I believe now? You know what I mean? It's just, and like you said, it's always changing, right? So let's continue the conversation, Jory. What do you think?
I think we can. Absolutely.
Awesome.
There's so much to talk about.
It really is. Yeah. Jory Jansen joining us Monday, Wednesday, Friday with the protein break. Always dropping nuggets, guys. And I know Jack Duggan loves the stuff loves the stuff you drop here. Jory, Jack has been joining us for a number of weeks now since we started the show, Jory. Mm-hmm. He's dropped 40 pounds.
Nice.
He's dropped 40 pounds. He's using
I shouldn't say nice. I don't know how it's happened. I always have to clarify first. I don't know how it's happened, so I'm not going to say nice other than if it's done in a way that's supporting his health and wellness. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, here's how he's shared it with me. He discovered our show, Richie, and he's like, you know what? I'm turning 40 in March. I want to be the best version of myself. So he's been using our show as his accountability partner. He's leaning into the motivation that Richie drops, the words that Marty drops, the words that Johnny drops, the nuggets you drop here on the Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. And he dropped me a note a couple of days ago and he's like, Keith, I'm crushing my goals, man. So I wanted to share that with you because what we are doing is making a difference. Good times going for a walk daily. Shинku's dialing it in. We got people leaning into what we're dropping. So very appreciative of the knowledge you drop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Jory Jansen.
Awesome. I love the sharing.
Jory. Thank you.
Awesome. Jory, have a good one. We'll see you on we'll see you
Jory.
Friday.
See you Friday.
All right, take
Thank
care.
you, Jory.
Right, let's walk Jory out of the lab and we're gonna bring in this one into the lab. Yeah. We'll see you, Jory.
I got a roll too.
We
Love
do.
you,
We got a whole Marty. Hey guys, we're gonna working with Marty here. Marty and I were talking yesterday. So my goal here is to get Marty onto the phone here in the coming days and weeks, and we're gonna do out of the lab with Marty. We're gonna do observations from the road with Christopher Martin. That'll be fun. Marty, go crush it, brother.
I see y'all.
See you tomorrow,
Marty.
Take care. All right, personal brand by Kristina Flynn's coming to crush it. Then we're coming back with Morning Loop Reloaded. Got a couple fun topics to talk about, and then Richie. I want to bring you and Johnny into a new segment I want to call On the Trail with Rich Ingram. Let's talk about endurance. Talk about what you and your buddy did last weekend. Johnny, you're gonna fucking crazy what Richie did with his buddy last weekend. Kristina, you're up.
Get off my stage. Get off my stage. I only have so many minutes. I only have so much time. Okay, listen up. Stop trying to be everywhere. Your brand doesn't need more content. It needs deeper impact. Here's why. I spent years thinking that visibility was the answer. More posts, more platforms, more noise, really. But here's what I discovered. Impact isn't about the volume. It's about the depth. You don't need 7 different platforms, 12 types of content, 24/7 availability to be engaging in the comments and engaging in the DMs. You need to start with one clear message, one clear platform, one consistent practice. Stop diluting your energy trying to be everywhere. Start going deeper where it matters. Because here's the truth. Your audience doesn't need more of you. They need the best you. Choose your platform, master your message, and show up with substance. Yes, it really is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand light into account, you will be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
Kristina Flynn with the personal brand bite dropping every day here at this time. And that was a fast one, Flynn. I wasn't ready for you to come back so fast.
Try to switch it up here, Normally I'm getting
that's awesome.
John's still in the bathroom.
I know. I'm like, holy smoke.
John will still be in the bathroom anyways.
I don't got my buttons ready yet, but I got this one going. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Top of the second hour here. Richie. Yeah, exactly.
Has Richie been
That's it.
Oh.
Yes.
Keep going.
We got Richie in for the morning loop reloaded here, hanging out, doing some dancing here in the lab here. We got some fun comments here. Lauren drops in here and says, my personal bests for my races have been fueled by fat more than carbs, Richie. I find a crash quicker when I carb load with strictly carbs. And then Lauren jumps in with "You're so inspiring," and I've been a part of those journeys, Richie. So I know that she's all about fueling that. Shinku comes in with that's keto, right? Yeah, we got some stuff coming from our conversation before here. And Shinku's high fat diets are probably best for athletes as fats lube the joints. And of course, Shinku's coming in with some more comments along the way here, show. So yes, Shinku, we're blowing the pipes. We're blowing the pipes, having some fun this morning. That was a fun hour, eh? We had some good stuff going on there. That was a fast hour. It was a super fast hour. And I have a story that I want to pull up with you guys, but it just ain't working at the moment here. So I'm going to see if I can get it up. But yeah, exactly. That's the one. So, hey, listen, did you guys know that, hold on, I got to get this one here. Johnny, what you think?
We can pretty much guarantee we don't know when you say that. That's always when you say, did you guys know? That means here we go. This is something that nobody knows, which is always fun.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I summarized it. So they open it up and I'm going to go there. So listen, there is a woman who, hold on a second here, guys. I got to pull it up here. Cause I want to get the story right here. There's a woman in the United States who, this is just great radio right now, and it's just not opening up for me here. So, okay, let's just go here. Go ahead, Johnny.
I'll take that for a moment to have some more of my organic ground beef, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Oh, so is it in the bag or what?
What time is it that you're just crushing?
It's actually in a Tupperware container. Well, see, I can have two hands.
6 a.m. where you are, and you just crush beef at 6 a.m.
I start crushing beef at 3:10.
All right, so I found this story that I really wanted to throw on the table today, and I'm super happy that Richie's here to share it with us. And I know Nation's going to be just fucking ready for this one. And Flynn, baby, this is a good one. This is a good one. All right, so I know when I'm reading, looking for content for the mornings, and I find it, just the fucking alarm bells go off in my head. Woman born with 2 vaginas reveals how hundreds of men she has slept with, hundreds, have never noticed. Richie, she's got a right side and a left side, and the right side's tighter than the left side. And guys don't know which side, and the guys just like, I've even opened my legs wide open to show the guys. And Kristina, I know you're confused, and so was I. But apparently, behind the labia and everything, there's 2 vaginas, and she's like, men can use both. Some guys get the left side, some guys get the right side. And apparently, some guys who like the right side, which is tighter and more enjoyable, become very protective of her right side.
My Lord, where do you even start with this? Can we clarify?
What's
one
the
thing?
Source of this? That's what I want to know.
Oh, don't ever ask the source. It's like Uncle Dan's blog from down in Virginia.
No. This is from a legitimate source. Annie Charlotte from the UK was diagnosed with uterus dideliphysis as a 16-year-old, the rare health condition where she has 2 vaginas, 2 uteruses, and 2 cervixes.
That was going to be my question. Does 2 holes lead to the same spot, or is it 2 holes leading to 2 different destinations?
Yeah,
so she could have 2 babies, so she could get pregnant while pregnant.
Yeah,
and guys, she's making gazillions of money as a successful OnlyFans creator.
I was going to say OnlyFans. Okay.
Yeah, and she's claimed that she's had sex with hundreds of men. That's the funny thing, right? Like not 5 or 10 or something. And I'm no judgment. Just the whole point of the story is that she's had sex with hundreds of men, but very few have noticed that she has a double vagina.
So we know.
And she says
Clarify. Why have very few noticed? Because what we have all been referring to as vagina for our entire lives, the outer thing that we all know what it looks like, that's not the vagina. The vagina is the inside part.
Yeah.
The outside is vulva, which is why you probably wouldn't be able to notice the two vaginas.
Sex advice from Kristina Flynn. Mornings and Alive with Keith.
That has anything to do with sex.
No, but I'm telling you. So she says my external, and Kristina, she's confirmed what you just said. My external stuff is all the same. I have one labia, and then it opens up into two separate vaginas internally. And then she says, you have to properly stretch it back to see it. And then she says, I can obviously feel it on myself. And I've asked guys in the past after we've had sex if they can feel it, but normally they don't notice it. In fact, she claims that 99.9% of the men she's had sex with don't even realize it. And then she says that my right one is bigger and more dominant than the left. So when I have sex, most of the time it goes into the right. And guys, she says, Kristina, guys get really possessive and weird about it when they hear that the left one's tighter and smaller, and they're desperate to try to get it, even when I tell them that it feels better.
Well, I don't know if she should be telling them.
So she's saying one of her holes feels better than the next, is just to put it bluntly. Is that correct? For her.
No, for them, she's
For
saying
them.
based on evidence, decent sample size.
Does she have 2 different periods?
You'd think,
I also
yeah.
wonder, does she have
would they be
two
at the same time, or she's just always bleeding?
Well, that's a good question.
That's a hell of a question.
That's a good question. I'm looking here. I'm continuing with you. I didn't see that when I first read the article here, but she does say this, and I'll get there, Richie. Annie did explain that people have come in and hit the wall. And if someone's on top, I do have to angle myself a certain way because otherwise it can be uncomfortable. And health professionals that she's worked with don't seem to know what on earth is going on either, she says. She says that she's been given conflicting advice. When I was 16, a nurse told me I was infertile straight away without any diagnosis from a gynecologist. But a gynecologist recently told her that she'd always be able to have C-sections, but she'd never be able to give natural birth.
She wouldn't be able to carry, probably.
There you go.
It wouldn't be big enough. But I wonder if she has 2 G spots.
Oh, I wonder that as well. Yeah, interesting story.
So
if they're both fully functioning, you would think so.
You would think so.
Yeah. So there you go, man.
Yeah,
If you're
if they're both fully functioning, that means they've got all their spots. That means there's the G spot included. But you know what I go back to is the fact that these poor pathetic dudes are getting possessive over her tight hole.
And so
goodness gracious, it's like, God damn, if that doesn't display the insecurity of some poor bastard, it's like, come on, man. Yeah, but, okay, listen, you can tell the other guys they can have the other side. This one's for me.
This is mine, up, man. This one's mine.
Have some
like,
fucking.
Talk about being possessive over a woman's body. Like this vagina, that one's mine. Everyone else can have the others.
Oh man, yeah.
Also, what would it be like if double dick dude?
Well, we had the guy with 3 penises, didn't we?
We did, yeah. This is the show where we got double vaginas, triple penises, all those kind of things. Richie, what were you going to say?
My buddy that I grew up with, he has 2 holes in the tip of his penis, and it was like, I remember the first one I saw it. We're in the locker room, like, dude, let me see. And like everybody's staring at his dick. Yeah, but only one of the holes works. I think the other one, I don't know.
Oh, hold on a second here. He's got 2 holes in the top of his penis, but only one works.
Mm-hmm. Now look, that's from peeing. I've only seen him pee. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, well,
I hope so.
Well, and Shinko's going IU, and I'm seeing some commentary. I think I'm just kind of I don't even. Yeah, that kind of gives me the EBGBs, man. I don't know, man. That's a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, but think of it like this. Going back to the original topic, the 2 vaginas. So dudes in general. So actually, what is his name? Jorden Peterson. He says, look, what you got to understand about females, that vagina is like a man walking around with $10,000 in his pocket. Everybody wants that 10 grand. So the female doesn't have 10 grand in her pocket. She's got a vagina in her pocket. Well, this one's got 20 grand. So, it's like, because dudes are so confused by the vagina, now there's double confusion with this one poor female. And so it's almost like, for the average man that falls victim to, I got to think, Jesus Christ, if that's the way you look at it, man, you got to start getting some ass, because, if it's that type of a draw, you got to do better for yourself. But now with this lady that's got 2 of them, those poor bastards that were enthralled by the 10 grand, now they're enthralled by the 20 grand. You can only imagine what's going on in their brains.
I can only imagine what's going on to Kristina.
Gold is only gold because it's a scarce commodity. As soon as you're throwing it out, it ain't gold anymore, man. Like, I don't want that shit.
Or as soon as you figure out how to get the commodity when you want to, it's not so. Then it becomes the supply and demand changes, and it's not all of a sudden that 10 grand becomes
is a convenience store. You got to wait in line. It's not even, like.
You lost me at Jorden Peterson. Jorden Peterson talking about women and what women have with their vagina. I'm done.
Well, no, what he was saying, Kristina, was that he was trying to basically help people understand that females walking around, that's the type of attention that they're getting, is they're getting this weird attention because people want their vagina, or men want their vagina, much like $10,000. If a man walking around with $10,000, halfway hanging out his pocket, that's going to be like, holy shit, I want. A lot of guys are going to. A lot of people are. I want that money.
Conversation. Why was he trying to teach men this?
I think he was just trying. I think he was just kind of talking about human nature and helping people understand that a woman actually takes a lot of heat for having a vagina, because males are attracted to it like 10 grand.
Yeah, I would rather listen to a woman talk about their experience than Jorden Peterson talk about my experience.
Don't kill the messenger. I'm just
I'm not. I'm just saying.
And keep in mind,
does Jorden Peterson know about having a vagina and the experience that women face?
And this could be a little bit out of context, but the bulk of it is there.
Okay, I got you. All love, John.
You are hanging out with Keith, Richie, John, and producer Flynn. We're talking vaginas this morning. We're talking the one with 2 vaginas for the Morning Loop Reloaded. Unpredictable conversation, men, to get your day started. And I don't even know what to leave you with a hook there. Although when you go and hang out with your next female friend and she has 2 vaginas, look left, look right. And Flynn, I don't think
it's likely. I think if you're interested in 2 vaginas, this woman, what was her name? She has an OnlyFans. Go pay her to look at her vaginas. She'll show you.
Advice from Flynn. Mornings in the lab.
Work is real work. Give her the platform. Let's go.
Friends. Hey, we should get her on the show.
If we could get her on the show, great.
We'll get her on the show. We'll talk about the 2 vaginas, and we'll bring the guy in with the 3 penises, and we can have a big conversation. Anyways, all right, let's keep the show going, Jimmy. Let's. I want to introduce a new segment here to the show here, and we're literally making it up on the fly. We like to create the airplane as we build it. But I want to. We're gonna. Richie's joining us a little more often now with Marty's changing plans, and recently Richie was on a race this last weekend with a buddy, and down in Texas. And I thought we could do a segment here to tell, because I'm sure Johnny is going to be like, what the fuck is going on with this thing? Because I know when Richie told me, and Flynn, why don't you stick around if you can? Richie was telling me about this race that these guys do in Texas, and it's the last man standing race. So, Jimmy, we're going to create a segment here for the next 9 minutes or so called On the Trail with Rich Ingram. And Richie, tell us about this race that your buddy competed in, how it works, why it works, and what the hell is it all about, man? Tell Kristina and Johnny and Business Athlete Nation about Last Man Standing.
Okay, so when I told you about this, I was politically incorrect. It's Last Runner Standing.
Oh, okay.
So we gotta put that out there.
Yes.
So the idea is that you have one. It's called a yard or a loop, but yard is the terminology. That's 4.167 miles. Okay, so 4.167 miles is 1 yard, and all the runners start a lap or a yard every hour on the hour. So this one started at 8 a.m. So all the runners get 1 hour to go run 4.167 miles. Now, so that started at 8 o'clock. Well, at 9 o'clock, they have to be in the start corral to start the second yard. If they're not, they miss it, they're out. Okay, so a lot of people show up because this is a good way. Let's say you're trying to set a distance record. You're trying to get to 50 kilometers, or you want to do a marathon or whatever. you get rest, right? Essentially. So you can do your yard and then you go sit down. And let me tell you, I mean, this is like, I've never been to Talladega, but I imagine it's kind of like Talladega without the alcohol. You know, people are just set up with their fucking, you know, tailgate tents everywhere. You have their lawn chairs and everything. And so it's just it's a really cool event. And what's really cool is every hour, every yard, I videoed all the runners taking off. So seeing the attrition go down every hour is really cool. But you have some people that want to just go out and run a 5K, right? So they'll do one lap and they're done. Some people, you know, it's a half marathon or a marathon. And so, you know, it's generally you're running it between 40 and 50 minutes. So ideally you have 10 minutes to rest before you have to start the next lap.
That's it.
And so like my buddy, he got second. And so he did, his was 112 miles. So, you know, what you saw is that a lot of these milestones people would cut off. So like you had 11 runners for like 5 yards, but as soon as they hit 100 miles, they're all like, I'm done. So 4.167 miles is going to be 24 hours. Exactly. So if you do, you know, 1 yard on the hour, it's going to be 24 hours and then you're out. And then as soon as those guys hit 100 miles, it was 3 runners. And so one guy just wanted to hit his PR, which was he wanted to run over 100 miles. So then it was 2 guys for 3 or 4 hours. Then they're just trying to win. And so when you hit 100 miles, that's when it becomes a race, right? Like before that, everybody's trying to hit a milestone. So not that it's not hard, not that it's not challenging for them, but if you're trying to win 100 miles, because that's the mental fuck. As soon as you get to 100 miles, now it's fucking game on. Now you're playing games with everybody, telling them like, oh, I don't got to be at work for the next week, so I can just fucking chill. Oh yeah, man, like you're playing mind games with everybody. And at that point, like I told the people, you get friends with all these people that you're sitting down.
Yeah.
I told them like, I'm not helping your guy anymore. Like if he needs a chair, he can't fucking have it. If he's like, oh, Rich man, could you give me a Coke? Yeah, I'll get you a Coke and then spill it on him. You know, like I'm not like I was there to help you, but now it's a fucking race. It's game on, and I'm getting my buddy across the finish line. And so just a really cool experience. Everybody's cool in this kind of environment. Like you don't even the people on the crew, like you don't fucking sleep. Like I was trying to, you know, lay down on the ground and take a little snooze. But I mean,
yeah, where do you sleep? But you only got, if everybody's doing it in 40 to 50 minutes, that means you're taking these little naps because whoever you're supporting comes back in, you're there for whatever he needs. Correct?
Yeah, you don't sleep. Like as a crew member, the first thing that I would do is as soon as my guy takes off, I'm going back to my little hooch that I set up and I'm getting everything ready. So I have like 3 or 4 different bottles just to mix with different, whatever he may need, different foods laid out. So whenever he comes back in, it's, hey, what do you want? How many carbs did you have that lap? If you didn't have that many carbs, or hey, you decided not to take a sodium drink out with you, hey, eat some potato chips, let's get some sodium. Or hey, while you're sitting here, drink this sodium mix, you know, so he doesn't, so and so it's a balance game, right? And
because the body's sending him signals the whole time. That whatever the body signals the body's sending, you're like, okay, we need to get more of this, we need more of that, because you know you got to keep him balanced. That's crazy shit.
It is. Cool. Johnny, think about this. So something else that Richie told me over the weekend too, which fascinated me. Kristina, Johnny, listen to what Richie has to say regarding how you do it. And what I mean by that is that you either choose to run really fast, right, Richie, and then end quicker and get more rest. So run real fast and be done in 40 minutes. So you can sit around for 20 minutes. Okay, so you're putting the strain on your heart, right? Or you go slower, spend more time on your feet, less time to rest. You right? So like, which one do you choose? Right? And it's fascinating to me because and Richie, hopefully I'm doing it justice, Richie, but you explained it to me, which is you got to try to find the balance, right? Which is speed as much as on your feet.
It's all economy. You know, we're gonna call it economy. So if you're going too fast, then yes, you're stressing different muscles, but you're also stressing your cardiovascular system. Well, if you're taking too long, well now you're putting way too much stress on your muscles because you're out there. That time's going to add up every hour over the hour. So it's a delicate balance of how long you need to be out there. Like my runner, he's a fast run. Like he can go out on normal runs and push, 7-minute miles, right? So he wasn't doing that out on the course, but normally he was about 40 minutes, between 39 and 42 every time was his yard. So he was one of the first guys every time, but that was just economically what worked. Another guy, the guy that came in first place, his time was 50 minutes. And so generally he was and he was back, but he wasn't as spot on as my guy. He got a little, this motherfucker was just tough. Like he was just willing to go, man. And my guy, so what Mel is his name, man, he just had the shits. Every lap it was shit. I mean, every lap. And so every time I knew that part of my system was I'd have to go get some scoops of Vaseline, one for him to take out with him on the next run, and the other one just in a spoon where he would just scoop his balls. And that was every fucking, because he was just shitting so much. And I've never seen that before. And so normally for him,
was he shitting out on the course? Was he shitting out on the course?
Himself.
I would say he took a scoop of Vaseline with him. You know what that was for? That's that's just doing what you got to do, man. That's whatever it takes, man. You're there for a purpose, and you got to squat and take a dump somewhere. That's just part of the process. Shit.
Or are you shitting yourself, Richie? I'm serious. Or are you literally running and shitting yourself?
I think that's what he's saying.
So here's why you don't want to talk about it, or here's why you don't want to do that. You don't want to shit yourself because now you're gonna get chafed, right? And so of course. He's already has some kind of chafing because he's having to wipe his ass so fucking much. And let's not forget, even though this is November, this is right outside of Houston, Texas. The humidity is 99. The temperature is in the 80s. So it's your junk is just
fucking gross,
moist, and you're disgusting. And so especially when you're putting Vaseline, so but if your stomach isn't processing your carbs, because that's what you're eating, right? Like it's not just about calories. We want to get grams of carbs. So in a race like that, what we're looking at is we're trying to get maybe upwards of 90 carbs in an hour, right? So I might want to hit 60 while I'm out there running. But then once I get back, I'm going to head to the aid station. And as I get up to like 16, 18 hours, now I'm eating mashed potatoes, potato chips, Coca-Cola, ginger ale, depending on, you got to test this, right? You got to test how your gut's going to take it. But what can happen oftentimes if your gut isn't taking that, you fart and it's a fucking shit. Okay. That, man, hopefully you have a change of shorts, because that's going to be a fucking huge chafing problem that you're probably not going to be able to come back from. You're just going to have to suffer through.
Yeah, this shit fascinates me because what fascinates me, because I'm a David Goggins fan, but as I've gotten to know Johnny and I believe I've lived this lifestyle, but until I've met Johnny, how he just articulates it, it's that I've done this shit that others won't do, and I know Richie does that, and Johnny does that, and that's obviously what this is all about. But Shinku has a great question here, which I think is worth addressing. John, for you, we'd love to hear your take on how to listen to your body.
Oh man, it's all about listening to the body. Well, I mean, there's kind of two schools of thought. I mean, you always got to listen to your body, but there's a certain point where you're not listening to anything. When I dinged my back up, part of the reason why I dinged it up is because the goal was to stand up with the weight. And you go into, when you're lifting something really, really heavy, you're not thinking about anything other than getting up. So did I feel something on the way up? Yeah, I felt something on the way up, but I had no idea that I'd ruptured 2 discs because I wasn't listening. I was choosing not to listen. I felt pop, pop, but that's all I felt, but then like in training, you got to listen, because if you don't listen to your body in training, you don't want to hurt yourself in training. Like Rich, we were going up, it was a couple of weeks ago. We're like, look, training is, you hurt yourself in training, you're an idiot. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to do it in that, in that championship setting. That's where you put it all on the line.
What does that mean though, Johnny? What does listening mean? Like, break it down. What are you trying to pay attention to?
Well, so let's put it into more of a term that everybody can kind of chew on here. So like let's use the stomach. The stomach gives us more signals. It's the number 2 organ. The only brain that supersedes is the brain, and that's our supercomputer. So the stomach gives us all sorts of information, but we've never been taught to listen to it. Perfect example. Let's just say we all decide to go for a walk in the woods. We're going to hear some shit, the birds chirping, da, 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 da. And then let's say we go for the next day, we go for a walk in the woods and we say, hey, let's listen to the woods. Now you start hearing shit that you didn't hear the first time through because you weren't intentionally listening to the woods. Well, when you start intentionally listening to the body's speaking a very, very subtle language. And a lot of times it's just this little whisper like this.
Yeah.
And if you can start catching on to these little signals, now it's a whole different level of communication. So when you are in tune with your body, like going to lifting weights, I've been lifting weights so long, I can literally have a conversation, so to speak, with my biceps. I can make my biceps literally contract based upon the language that I have with my bicep or my glutes or my quads, whatever it is. But it's a language that's learned over time. And so when you say listen to the body's constantly talking to us through pain, through the stomach. It's just we've never been taught to listen, nor has it been made. When something's really important to you, you're gonna invest more into it. As an athlete, I would say if you took any high athlete and you strip it all the way down, they're all going to have some version of this saying, you got to know your body.
I love this. Richie, I got to think you subscribe to the same thoughts, right? Because you do a lot of endurance athletics, and share your experience about listening to your body before we wrap this segment up.
Yeah, so 100%. I think what you have to know the difference is when we're training. What's the difference in injurious pain and training pain? When you're in a hard effort, it's supposed to hurt, right?
Yeah.
But
yes.
You have to be able to tell the difference of, hey, if I keep going like this is going to be an injury, and so that's how I take it. Listening to my body. Look, if I'm waking up and I'm a little groggy, I have to start looking at what did I eat yesterday? What did I drink yesterday? Maybe I need to drink a little bit more water because dehydration is one of the hugest things.
Signals of the body right there.
That's it. But when it's a show and this is an A race, okay, I'm listening to my body, but at the same time, like I had a plan, I had a race plan. And once I get to a certain level, I'm just following that plan because I know these are the things that I need to succeed. So when it's painful, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to follow the plan and I'm going to push through the pain.
Here's another way to put it to real simply. And so, for the people that don't understand endurance, think of it like this. In training, you accept a pain that doesn't leave a mark, so to speak. In that championship setting, you're going to endure pain that's going to leave sometimes even a permanent mark.
This is so crazy. And so is the signal in that case then the morning grogginess, Rich?
I mean, signal
that would be a little signal
everywhere, but yeah. I mean, so I know what it feels like when I wake up in the morning if I'm dehydrated. Like I know, I already know. Like, hey, I need to start drinking fucking water. Like this is just how it feels. And it's just like what John said. I mean, we've been doing this for so long. Like you just know what the niggles are, right? That could potentially be injurious. So I'm just going to make certain changes to my training as to not exacerbate that. So I'm not sidelined. Because at the end of the day, the A race, the stage race, like that's my goal. Not getting this extra rep in at the gym. It's all about the A race. Yeah. How am I going to, perform there?
I think that's the hard part. And Keith, I think I want to add this to a conversation for like another day, because I think immediately my head goes to, y'all know what dehydration feels like. I don't think the majority of people do. I don't think the majority of people, and I know John has said this before, they don't know what feeling good feels like. Yes. So they just go through the day and maybe the entire segment on this of like, how do you know? What does that feel like? How do you get into that?
Yeah.
What I thoroughly love,
you have no idea. Most people have no idea how bad they feel until they finally feel good.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thoroughly enjoying as we continue to put this show together, is that, there's theory, there's science, and then there's experience. There's not many people on the planet that have the experience John Anderson has. It's one thing to be lifting weights for 40 years, but imagine, like Richie, imagine all the reps the guy has put in on the bench press. Just right, or the squats, like that's the
Dude
fucking
can talk to his biceps,
right. And then you look at Richie, like the experience he has had, like there's like the power in those experiences. Yes, we can bring Jory on and talk science, and we all want to hear that. And yes, we want to hear theory. But man, do I ever love to hear real life experiences, because when Johnny's like, yeah, you guys have no fucking clue what dehydration feels like, or Richie says the same thing about injurious, or, it's supposed to fucking hurt. Like most of us, we just don't know that. Right.
Well, and check this out. The science in many cases is discovered by studying a subject that discovered something in the trench. Like when I discovered high levels of protein, I was just crushing high levels of protein. And all of the science, I believe at that point, was like, oh yeah, it's that excess protein can't be converted. Well, I was fucking converting it. So I don't give a shit what the science says. I was crushing my goals at a speed that nobody understood. Do you think I give a shit what science says? No, because I had found something that was taking me where I wanted to go at a rapid rate. So we got to remember, in many cases, science kind of backs up what's discovered in the trench.
Richie.
And I also think, theory, science, whichever, it's a good starting point, right?
Yes,
like that's for those of us that don't have the hours that John has, and we're looking for something, and like that's a good starting point to figure out. Okay, now because what else are you going to do, right? Like so start there, and then you can deviate as you start to feel and get in connection with
and
your
there's
body.
the signals we're talking about. You start to feel what works best for you. Boom, there's another signal. Holy shit, I guess science says to go straight, but I'm doing better if I veer to the left. I'm going to keep veering to the left. That's the signal. I mean, that's a signal right there, Kristina. Does that make sense? So your body kind of leads the way.
But again, though, Kristina, what I like about this, though, is because you often talk about folks. So you talk about, Kristina, in the personal branding world, like when we're talking in the business side of things, folks have all this knowledge, all this experience that they don't know how to unlock or monetize. And you look at a guy like Anderson or Richie, right? Like, fuck, Anderson has lifted more weights than most guys will ever lift in their entire life. There's value in that experience, or those moments.
It's the perfect example. Because this is like tangible, tactile stuff that we're used to people talking about. But what you can do also is apply, and Rich, you and I have talked about this as well offline, is your time in corporate is also an experience. What was that like, going from being in the military to being in corporate? Your time now switching and being a speaker and having goals around that, and the activities that you do every single day to get you to where you need to be. All of that is a body of work. I consistently talk with people and they're like, well, I have this template that I created that really helps me do XYZ. That's knowledge. That's a body of work. That's a template that you can create that can help somebody out there that they didn't even know they needed what you have, but you have it. And that's the perfect example.
Like, because I lean into when John talks about how he had to learn about how he can crush an avocado and it fuels him where something doesn't. You only know that by doing it over and over and over. And many folks won't do something over and over and over to get the experience, right? So, or Richie going, yeah, well, the guy ran, it took him 60 grams of carbs and we knew it was going to take an extra, how'd you know? Well, we did it fucking 1,000 times. And that's what I love. And I know that's a lot of people hate about the gym. And Johnny, we talk about it all the time. Richie, you got to enjoy the process. And, Kristina, you and I have talked about often, if you can't enjoy the process, fuck, go somewhere else.
But it's never made sense to me because of this part of the conversation.
I know.
Enjoying the process to me has always been like, well, fuck, I don't know. I'm focused on the result. What do you mean enjoy the process? But so much of enjoying the process is like these kinds of conversations with your body, learning about your body, seeing the simple changes, or seeing the simple, like being able to advance and see the progression in yourself. And that's like, people don't talk about, that's the part of progress that people are talking about.
No, like, so Johnny's starting in the gym on Monday, doing some weights, and then by Friday going, okay, I'm going to do this one thing for 5 days or whatever it's going to be. It's going to be repetitive. I don't know what kind of results I'm going to get. Most humans won't do that. Won't, because they're just like, I want the results right now.
And that's well, and that's the thing I always say is that, look, anybody could choose to do what I do, but they just, well, I shouldn't say that. People just won't do it. You can, you just won't.
Yes.
And that's the thing. When you're willing to do what other people won't do, you separate yourself really fast. It's the formula is not as complex as people think.
Well, that's a good way to wrap it up because we started. Hold on, because we started with Richie and his buddy at the race, and Richie's buddy was one of the last two guys. In other words, Johnny, the rest of the racers wouldn't do what Richie's buddy and the other buddy were prepared to do. It's as simple as that, right, Richie?
I think in the training, I mean, there is a level like
the training is what allows you to display that shit. So you got to be. It's not willing to do on a certain day. Anybody can do something on a day. Well, I should say can't do that. But what makes a person, it's willing to do what other people won't do with consistency. That separates you.
Right. And that's the reason why you might take a top salesperson, and that top salesperson might start a 1099 training program to tell everybody, here's exactly what I do. And the reason why he's not scared that someone else is going to beat him is because he knows that 90% of those people will not put in the work to execute how he's processing his things to get to the top. Simple truth.
And his exact system is not going to work for everyone. That's also the
that's
difference.
True too.
Like
that's true too.
That's what we talk about all the time on the show, and what we get excited about for League of Business Athletes. 100 hours, 100 days, 10 men. We're not going to tell you this is the process. This is your system. This is exactly how we do it. We're going to say, here is information. This has worked for people around this table. This table has some pretty successful, accomplished people. You choose what parts of it you want to pick. You choose what you like and what you don't like, and experiment, because that's what it's taken for all of us to find the systems. So why wouldn't it make sense that we do the same with other folks?
But the magic's showing up every single day. So on day 67, when you're like, fuck, I don't want to show up. Well, there's Richie. He's already put in 100 miles in. Oh, there's Johnny. He's already been in the gym for a few weeks, right? But that's just it, because most like, I got to do 100 days. Yeah, you do actually. Yeah. Day 63 is going to be a grind. There's Johnny's been fucking blasting it out. But anyways, listen.
Fucking 100 days of fucking down payment. Jesus Christ.
It's so true, isn't it, Johnny? Like 100 days is fuck all.
This piece of cake.
It is. But listen, nation, we could go on this for a while. I see a lot of you tuning in here, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us on the trail segment with Richie and Johnny and myself. We're going to keep doing this as we continue developing the show here. I love the stuff that Ingram does with his guys. Like endurance is about the mind, guys. And if you can sort that shit out, you're going to accomplish some pretty extravagant things. But hey, listen, I know Johnny's got to rock and roll. Richie, you want to stick around for the community corner critter spotlight?
I got to jump.
Okay, awesome. So Richie's going to jump. Johnny's going to jump quickly. Less than a second. Less than 30 seconds. Richie, what stood out for you today, brother?
From Brenneman section, I got this laminated.
I know you do.
I know you do. The Brenneman statement, and he said, start with who you are, the foundation, and then build the content. You got to know who you are before you start moving forward.
I love that. Richie, have a great day, brother. We'll talk to you later. Okay. Right. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Johnny, what stood out for you today, brother?
I like this new segment. I think we're going to really uncover some cool shit with it.
Good. Awesome. Brother, I know you were tracking a few seconds behind in your brain today. You go get it today, okay, brother?
Yeah, I'm holding it together, but that's just, it doesn't have to be perfect to be a good one. I'm on the
I get you, man. I get you.
Let's go.
Right. Go have a good one, okay, pal? All right, take care, Johnny. All right, Jimmy, I see you there, man. So Kristina, I see that. So the funny comment from Jimmy here. Producer Jimmy's hanging. So those of you who don't know, producer Jimmy hangs out with us from the Philippines. He's a foundational member of the lab here, and I get a message from Jimmy. He's like, heads up, sudden strong thunderstorms here at my place at the moment. I can't watch the news because I'm busy watching nursery rhymes, Kristina. And you and I started the show talking about Bluey. So gentlemen, dads out there, hey, maybe a little bit of Bluey in the future for Jim.
Bluey is an unlock. I could go into.
I know, man. Bluey. We're gonna do a whole show on Bluey one day.
I'm building a full content library of life lessons from Bluey because that shit is genius.
It is genius. Speaking of genius, how about a segue, Flynn?
That was pretty good, actually. That's one of your better ones.
Speaking of genius, today we're featuring somebody in the community corner, and Jack Dugan's like, my son loves Bluey and bingo. Yes, Jack, John, why should yours be any different? So today, I didn't know we were featuring this one, Kristina. I'm happy with this creator spotlight because I've been interacting with this human on LinkedIn for a while. I've been engaging with his content for a while. I love the work that he's doing. This human's a transformative health coach. Am I looking at the right camera, Jimmy? I am, yes. A transformative health coach. This creator helps business leaders and executives build six-figure health, empowering them to prioritize wellness while thriving in their careers. And I can tell you, Kristina, this guy just shows up all the time too. He's always showing up, just putting out content, challenging his clients and challenging potential clients to show up. It's a lot of fun. He's a leader in sustainable performance with a proven track record. This gentleman, Kristina, has helped over 500 professionals permanently lose weight, dude, boost energy, and optimize their health without restrictive diets. I mean, Johnny talks about that often, right? The creator of the peak performance fat loss system. His system's designed to help busy executives lose 15 plus pounds in 90 days. So if you're looking for a 90-day fix, this guy's going to help you out while improving focus, performance, and overall energy. So today we are going to feature in the Creator Spotlight for Mornings in a Lab with Keith and Friends while I get my mouse sorted out here, Jimmy. Yeah,
I feel like my drum roll is getting way better.
I think they are getting way better. My mouse is not. There we go. Okay, good. Yes, keep going with the drum there, Flinner. Today's Greatest Spotlight Live with Keith and Friends is. Did it come up?
Not yet. Gotta click on it.
Jorden Pagel.
Hey.
Jorden, surprise, brother. I know we've been interacting on LinkedIn for, I guess, over a year or so ago. But hey, listen, Jorden Pagel is the last health coach. There's my accent there. The last health coach you'll ever need. He helps business leaders and executives build six-figure health. He's inviting you to subscribe to his newsletter for monthly workout resources and strategies. And listen, if you're looking to hang out with Jorden, you go DM me ready if you want to lose 15 pounds in the next 90 days. And Alex, yes, thank you, brother. That was Alex. Alex, why don't you join the show from England and give us a drum roll there, brother? But Kristina, why are we celebrating Jorden Pagel? I love you guys' content. What are we celebrating Jorden for?
So Jorden, I think, is doing something that we're going to be seeing a lot more of. And I know that this is something that Rich is really passionate about as well. Traditionally in the executive world, traditionally in the corporate world, when we talked about leveling up, when we've talked about becoming your best self, we stick to the mind and we stick to the mindset things, that side of wellness. What Jorden and a lot of other folks are doing are saying, well, like, hey, you can do all that stuff with your mind, but if you're not physically fit, let's just call it what it is. If you're sitting on your ass all day long, if you're not in good shape, if you're carrying around extra weight, none of that leveling up, none of those workshops that you're doing inside corporate America are going to work. So you got to get yourself right from a physical perspective as well. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more trend towards that kind of idea of it's not just mental, it's also physical in the executive workplace to be able to do this. And there's a reason why big time executives, in order to get their insurance with their big contracts, they have to go through physical health examinations because they need to see where they're at, and they can look at where they're at in their journey, and they can look at these numbers of data points and say, yeah, you know what, your insurance, we can't take you on right now because your health is really shit. And I can't offer you this really, really big role because you're too much of a risk for the company. People like Jorden are saying, you can fix that. And I'm going to be able to support you. I'm going to be able to get you, fine, you're making 7 figures. What does 6-figure health look like? I love that kind of mentality. I love that like little tagline from him. And like you said, he's showing up every day to do the work. And we just have a lot of respect for that.
Jorden does show up every single day. He's a vulnerable soul, Kristina. I've seen a lot of great content from, the positive to the vulnerable to the very human side. So nation, I would invite you to check out Jorden Pagel over on LinkedIn. Follow him, like his content, interact with him. And hey, if you don't have 100 days to hang out with myself and Kristina and Adam and AJ and Rich and Jory to change your life, hey, Jorden might be able to do it in 90. Yeah, true story. 90-day program. Lose 15 pounds. Jorden Pagel. He is today's creator spotlight for Mornings in a Lab with Keith and Friends. And Jorden, listen, I told you before, but I'd love to have you on the show. I knocked on Jordan's door a couple months back. So I want to hang out on the show. So Jorden, we're giving you another reason. The invite, the door's wide open. Come hang out with us on the show. Come hang out with myself, John, Marty, Kristina, Rich, Mornings in a Lab with Keith and Friends. And maybe you have somebody, Jorden, you want to put on the table and celebrate for the creator spotlight. All right, Flynn, well, listen, traditionally we work towards our business and branding segment, but we've had such a full show But I'm thinking that we're going to work towards wrapping it up here, and we'll continue our chat tomorrow. What was the highlight for you today on the show? It went fast today.
It went really, really fucking fast today. And I'll be honest, I was worried because, as you know, we took away my son's soother over the weekend. And the man, my daughter took 3 days and she was over it. This dude, he's like, he's getting progressively more pissed as the days go on. And he's up at least right now, like 90 minutes at like 3 a.m.
Oh.
He's pissed and he's resilient. He does not stop. He just moans and moans and moans. We've had to move my daughter out of his room as well. Like, it's really impacting us. The point being, I was worried about today's show because I was up with him for 90 minutes last night and it went by really fast. And it was really good fucking content.
Can I be honest too? So I was up just watching the world last night. So I was up late last night too. So I got up this morning and I was joking a bit before the show thinking, hey, it might be the robe show today. Cause I was just going to throw the fucking robe on and come hang out in front of the camera. But of course I pulled it all together and I don't want to say nervous. I love doing this. We could pull it off regardless. But I too was coming in with, okay, I'm a little tired today. I don't know what the mood's going to be like. Although I figured there's going to be some energy coming in because I figured people would be waking up being on YouTube because of the world events. But big audience, great interaction, great conversation. Daniel Brenneman's dropping nuggets. Jory Jansen's dropping nuggets on fat. Rich is telling us about the dude he ran with. And then
I love that shit. When Rich gets into it, like, I don't know where else you can get that content. I'm sure there's places. I just don't know about it.
But that's my point about Richie and John about experience, right? Like, again, there's one thing about science, one thing about theory, but where are you going to sit and talk to a guy who's had his arm blown off in Iraq? Now he runs fucking hundreds of miles like he's like nobody's breakfast. Or you hang out with a guy named John.
His buddy a spoonful of Vaseline for his balls. Like
right?
Once on the hour.
Right? So and then you got a guy who's wrestled in North Korea. You got a guy who's probably done more bench presses than most men who's listened to our show will ever do in their entire life. My point is that the value and experience, man, it is maybe underrated. And I think it leans into a lot of what we're doing here is that, you know, if you have experience, man, and you want to build your personal brand, the lady I'm talking to, Kristina Flynn, can help you do that. And we're gonna talk more about that as we continue with the show in time, because I'm telling you guys, your experience is worth something and people want to hear it. They do, because most don't want to go through it. It's like, give me the shortcut. Right?
They just want to model a possibility. We've talked about this a lot. Being inspired by somebody is looking at somebody's story, seeing yourself in them in some way, shape, or form, and being like, well, fuck. If they did it, why can't I do it?
So true. So true. All right, Flinner, let's rock and roll, man. I know you got a busy day ahead of you here. And so back to the little man. Where's the little man right now? Is the little man going to school, or is the little man at
He's at school. He woke up and oh man, my parents they're leaving for a couple weeks, so they came and they took the kids to school because this is the day where Aaron goes to work. And they just walked into my house this morning like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, I don't know. It's a disaster. The shit is just going on. And in those moments, you just have to be like, well, here it is. Thanks so much for the support. I love you, appreciate you. He'll pissed again tonight. He won't eat dinner like he did last night because we also took away his bottle. Yeah. And he's just like, he's on a hunger strike. He's like, I don't give a fuck. So mornings in the lab, we teach humans to start one habit at a time, or one habit per week. Kristina and Aaron are teaching the son, Bray, to start multiple habits at one time, which is you're getting rid of your soother, you're getting rid of this, who's these parents? Turkey. It's cold. I mean, you can't do one without the other. And why am I going to go through this twice? If it's going to be shit, double the shit and let's go through it and let's get through it. But again, I was expecting 3 days. We started this on Friday of last week. Yeah. And he is it's getting bad. It's real bad.
Oh, I love it. We got Rick Klitke joining us in the comments here. Kristina Rick says, I know a coach who finally admitted that nobody wanted to listen to him because he didn't have his own shit together. So he started focusing on his physical health and it changed everything. Oh, well, it's just like, are you going to go to a trainer who is overweight? Sorry, that didn't. Are you going to go to a trainer who doesn't look like the trainer you want the person to look like? I'm just calling what it is, and that's kind of what Rick is saying.
You want to look like, right? Like it's like I want to go to somebody who's done the thing that I want to do, which is why the experience to knowledge and knowledge sharing to personal brand is so impactful because you've already done it.
Yes.
It's like if I had a really shitty brand online and I've never built a brand before, why the fuck would you come to me for brand lessons? Yes. Why the fuck would you come to me to work on your brand? You wouldn't. It's the same thing with physical fitness. Oh, you stop it.
So this one is out of sorts here today. So so Charlie is here on the show here. Charlie decided to join
Charles, good to have you today.
She is up and at him, and for no reason, we're wondering why she's wandering around today. I think she's recognized that there was an election last night because she's was up early this morning. She's all over the place. I've taken her outside, and she's like, "No, I just want to hang out." So it's just kind of a weird thing. She never comes down here. So yeah, anyway,
mine sits on my feet.
There you go. Yeah,
she can't just be beside. She has to sit directly on me. It's the bulldog way. Just so you know, I'm here.
All right, so Keith and Kristina, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get on with our day today, and I just want to remind you guys, if you've just tuned into the show, I see a lot of you guys here right now. I invite you, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share it with your friends. This is a morning show for ambitious human beings. We typically target men. We're a morning show for men to help you guys achieve your most audacious goals. We help you guys start your day. We help you guys end your day. We help you guys with a dose of accountability and help you guys, like I said, achieve those big, audacious goals. I want to thank Rick. I want to thank Jack. I want to thank Lauren. I want to thank Good Time, Shinku. Who else joined us here today in the lab? Kristina, I know you were in the comments here today. We had a bunch of you guys joining us here in the lab, and I appreciate all of you guys. I know Kristina does as well. So on behalf of Marty, Johnny, Richie, Flynn, what do you got to say before we say goodbye? Anything to say goodbye?
It's great, Alex. I don't know, a gopher doing a beatbox. I don't know. That's almost like too much of a reward to give me. I can't even give myself that.
Flynn, I appreciate you, man. Good job today. We got
Casey Atkins coming up tomorrow, and I'm heading to Tahoe. I'm heading to Tahoe for a retreat. So I'm going to miss y'all. I'll be back on Friday. But yeah, Casey Atkins coming through our friend Joe Fontana, and we're going to kick it with her tomorrow.
Awesome. Casey, looking forward to welcoming you tomorrow. Thanks, Fontana. Kristina, travel safe. Marty, have fun tomorrow with the old folks. No, today, I guess. Have fun with the old folks there, Marty. Richie, go get it. Johnny, go get it. And Lauren, I love you, baby. We'll see you guys later.
Lauren, love you, baby.
See you guys. Ciao. Thanks, Jimmy.